We like to say that Piksel is an 800-person startup. We are really in that mode right now. We've got a bunch of companies that had sort of gone through a lot, but came out of it, were rebranded as Piksel about a year ago, and now we're moving forward with that. We work with really big customers from ATT Uverse to Sky, Channel 4 in the UK, all the way down to startups and a whole range of churches in the South in the US, and everybody in between, be it networks, broadcasters, and we're all around the world too, which is key. We are in the US, Europe, Asia, Latin America, so we've got offices around the world as well, so it's a really exciting time for us. We see a lot of the growth coming from what people are calling MCNs, from multi-channel networks. The video that used to only be able to find online on YouTube, places like that, now it's starting to get on TV. So you see it whether it's via Roku, whether Xfinity is putting it on, or some of the other MVPDs. Everybody is making a real play to get this via VOD in front of people. And it's sort of really blurring the line between what's video and what's TV. And what's exciting about that is it opens up a huge opportunity for the people who own that content to monetize it better, because they can bring it directly to their consumers, to their fans, without any kind of middleman. And thanks to the growth of programmatic advertising, they can really start to see huge monetization potential from that, where so long as they can get viewers, they can get ad revenue. It used to just be that you had one option. You could watch it on your, on your laptop or mobile device, and if you could figure out a way to plug that into the TV, great. Now you've got things like Chromecast, which let you just throw things from your computer right onto the TV. You've got devices like Roku, which now have about 10 million customers, where you can just light up a channel on Roku and have it appear just like any other channel on the TV as a VOD asset. And then on top of that, you've got the various MVPDs are starting to open up their VOD catalogs and saying, okay, if you've got the content, we'll put them up there, send your viewers here and they can watch it, whether it's on Xfinity or Fios or Uverse, and that opens up a whole world of potential viewers, because people who might have been too afraid or didn't want the experience of watching stuff on a laptop now can suddenly watch this stuff on their televisions. It's got to be marketed, and that's something that sometimes people miss that step. In other words, we used to call it, back in the days of the internet, in the late 90s, brands would put up a website and then we would ask them, well, how do you think people are going to find it? And they're like, oh no, they will. So we used to call it clicking through the internet. That they would just be clicking through the internet and stumble on it. And the same thing now with all this VOD content. You've really got to have a plan on how to drive people there. Now, so for instance, we have one client that we just started working with, Jeffrey Hazlett, who is a very well-known business speaker. He has his own show on Bloomberg called The C-Suite, and Jeff has something like 1 million Twitter followers. So it's very easy for him, when he launches his online channel there, to let all those 1 million people know that it exists, get them excited about it, and drive people there. But if you're not Jeff Hazlett, then you need a backup plan. You need to actually market it. And that was the value. If you think of it, if you take a step back, that was the value that one of the main values that TV networks added, is that they would market your shows for you. They would get it in front of viewers so that you could collect the ad revenue. But we're finding people realizing, I can do this myself, and I can do it a lot more effectively, depending on the type of content I have, and I can get 100% of the ad dollars, not just a smaller percentage of it.
So how do publishers go about creating content for the connected TV? Is it the same as doing a mobile?
Well, it really depends on who the publisher is and what they're thinking. I mean, a lot of times we're seeing, short form content, which is getting longer. I mean, it used to just be 2 or 3 minute things. Now you're looking at 5 or 10 minute. And a lot of people are starting to invest in their own production studios, depending on what you're doing. If it's sort of a news show, if it's just, one person in a small studio set, it's not really cost prohibitive. Obviously, if you want to remake something on the scale of Game of Thrones, well, then you need a whole lot of money. But if it's news or interview, you really don't need a whole lot of setup cost. And then it's just figuring out how much content they need to keep it fresh and what to do. One of the things that we're seeing, which I think is very cool, is the start of these Pandora-like playlists with short-form video, where you can actually take user preferences into account and create what really resembles a linear stream, something that feels like you're watching live TV, but just it goes one video after another. And the difference being is when you stop, your stream stops. So it's not going, when you're not there. So when you come back, you just pick up where you left. But it creates this sense that you're actually sort of having a lean back experience rather than having to decide what's next every 2 minutes. And that really makes a difference in how much video people watch and just their overall enjoyment of it.
Is that something that you guys are going to roll out?
Yeah, we're talking with partners about that and maybe even doing something on that order ourselves, but that's definitely high on the roadmap, one of the immediate things. And we think it's going to have a big effect on the engagement with that sort of short form video.
So Alan, you have a book coming out.
Yes.
Television. So I know we can't go through it all here in our own short form video here, but tell us about the future of TV. When obviously we're interested in IPTV delivered.
Right.
Who's going to win the war of the living room, if there is such a war, or how is IP going to be delivered?
What I've been calling it is the Spotifyization model, which is sort of a mouthful. But if you basically look at the way that people use Spotify now and all the different types of experiences that you can have on that, where you can sort of find one specific song and listen to it over and over again, you can make your own playlists, you can listen to your friends' playlists, to expert playlists, you can listen to things that resemble radio stations, you can see curated playlists. And TV is really going to sort of net out there, where there will be linear TV, there will be networks, but you'll also, because everything will be on VOD, you'll be able to create your own experiences. You can make a channel of your favorite crime shows, you can make your own unique channels, you can find a celebrity who you like and sort of watch what they're watching. But we think that the lean back experience is huge, and that's not going away, but that people, depending on their mood at the time or their basic personality, will want the I'm going to choose this myself lean forward experience. So it's a combination of the two. One of the cool things about the future of content, and you're really seeing it now, is because production quality hasn't varied dramatically over the last, say, 10 years, that things still look fresh to a new audience. Like, I look at my son is 15 and he and a bunch of his friends are binge watching Lost from the beginning, and it doesn't feel like an old TV show because it was shot in HD and it doesn't look dramatically different than what's on the air today. So suddenly we're going to have this whole range and depth of content, and as people keep on creating more stuff, it's not going away, and it's not only on once a week in syndication, it's all there waiting for people to consume it. And you're going to see a range of what's now considered sort of professional, network or cable network content, down to stuff that's on YouTube, Maker, places like that, that may not look as slick but has value to its audience, and people will really view it as all the same thing. That it's just this video stuff that I watch, and we think best available screen is where it gets watched. If you have access to a 55-inch HD TV, then you're going to watch it on that. If someone else is watching that TV, you may watch it on your iPad, but you're always looking to that best available screen.
How might sort of the delivery through devices evolve, do you think?
I think it's going to be a combination. So I think smart TVs with apps probably aren't the future, but smart TVs that may be able to get signals from a tablet that serves as a set-top box is a future. I also think that things like gaming devices and Rokus are also part of the mix, because there's things you can do with that experience with those sorts of devices that you can't do straight from a tablet. So I think we'll see all of that, and just an overall move away from the old school set-top box, which is hard to update and doesn't really allow for the type of experiences people that doesn't really allow for the types of experiences that people expect nowadays. That they look at their tablets and they say, gosh, this looks a lot different than it did 5 years ago. And they look at their set-top boxes and think, gosh, this looks the same as it did 5 years ago.